Okay, so let me ask you about the mafia structure real quick, because at the top you have the boss, and then you have the underboss below, but then sort of in between you have the consigliere. Consigliere. Yeah. So what is the difference between a consigliere and an underboss?
Well, official positions, the consigliere is supposed to be an advisor to the boss, and he's also an intermediary between the soldiers, the capos, and the boss, because you're not really supposed to go directly to the boss if you're a soldier. Let's say you have a complaint, you have a gripe, you have something bothering you. You go to a consigliere, you let him know. Maybe you got a problem with the boss, whatever. He's supposed to be your intermediary to straighten it out. The only problem is the consigliere is handpicked by the boss. And if you go to the consigliere with a complaint about the boss, you're going to be in trouble. So you don't do that. But he's an advisory position. The underboss is actually the second in command in rank. So Sammy was second in command. I believe if the boss had a meeting that he couldn't attend or he wanted to send, he would send Sammy. He would send the underboss to represent the family at that point in time.
Well, I guess I don't understand then at that point, what's the difference between the underboss and the consigliere still? Because they both report to the boss. Mm-hmm. Both people could go to them with issues.
Correct.
So is the consigliere, is it just more of a kind of the way they carry themselves? This is more like the calm person who could see both sides, but because it almost, I mean, I look at the structure of my business. It's like, you know, I have me at the top and I have my managers, and my managers deal with my employees. I mean, I could have another person on the side, I guess, but technically, if there's a problem, you usually go to their manager, and the manager comes to me. And this other person, I'm not quite sure how to even, if I had a consigliere, I wouldn't quite know how to fit them into my organization.
Well, let's make a comparison. You got the president and the vice president.
Right.
If something would happen to the president, the next in command who would take over would be the VP.
Right.
Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be like that in Cosa Nostra, but most likely it would be. He would be the next in charge. So he outranks the consigliere.
Okay, but the consigliere only answers to the boss.
Correct.
So could the underboss tell the consigliere what to do?
He can, yeah. He can, yes.
Okay.
He can. And when you come into that life, we're told everybody's equal. Soldier's equal to the boss as far as policies and everything. In other words, the boss is not supposed to do anything to a soldier in violation of Cosa Nostra policy. So in that way, we're all equal. But obviously, you have a boss and they outrank you. And a capo regime is a street boss because the boss appoints men underneath you, soldiers underneath you. So, people have said, Michael, you're not a boss. I said, I never called myself a boss, but a capo regime is a street boss. You're assigned men. You are their immediate supervisor. So in a way, you are a boss. You're not the boss, but you are a boss in an organization. That's how it goes.
I mean, when you look at the five families, how often have the bosses actually cooperated?
Well, Joey Messina,
okay. He was head of the what?
He was Bonanno family.
Bonanno.
Was stunning when because I knew Joey. I don't know about anybody else. I'm trying to think. Bosses? I don't know of any other boss in recent memory that has cooperated.
Were there any bosses who got killed because people thought they were cooperating?
No, not that I know of.
So basically you're saying that once you're at the boss level, you really don't cooperate. And if you get pinched, you do your time most times. Because a lot of bosses were in prison.
Yes. Well, let's
for long periods of time, 30 years, 50 years.
Yes. But let's put it this way. There's one thing that I have to explain. A lot of people think that the younger guys couldn't stand up like the older guys. And I say that that's not true. The older guys didn't face what current Mafia is facing. They didn't have the racketeering laws. Yep. They didn't have the Bail Reform Act. They didn't have the Sentencing Reform Act. They didn't have any of that to deal with. It's one thing, way back when, 50s, 60s, you got, a 10-year sentence. You did 3 or 4 or 5. You got 20, you did 7 or 8. Anybody could stand up under that. But now under the RICO statute, you get 50 and you're doing 50. You're doing 85% of your time. You're going to do 40 plus years. That's different. People don't stand up. I don't care who you are. boss, underboss, or whatever. A lot of the older guys, maybe not necessarily bosses, but older guys started cooperating under that, that kind of weaponry that the government had. So it's really the government that, and people, let me clear this too. They say John Gotti destroyed the Mafia. John Gotti did not destroy the Mafia. The RICO Act destroyed the Mafia. Gotti was, he was out there. Maybe he was a little bit too ostentatious, but it wasn't him. It was the racketeering laws that did it. No doubt about it.